Started with the movie Who Killed the Electric Car.
Oh.
And
Oh, yeah.
we were driving home, Mary Lou, my wife, and I, and we're just kind of disgusted as what went on. I've forgotten what year that was, but I'm sure we can find out.
It was around 2000, plus or minus a couple of years.
Yeah, 2000 hadn't come around. It was still 1996, 8, 7, somewhere in there. And Mary Lou goes, "Well, I want an electric car." And I suggested to her, I said, "Hey, look online, look on the internet, you'll find a lot of Miatas that the engines are worn out and they're cheap. All you do is have to find one with good suspension, good seats, and decent paint." And she did. And in fact, it was almost immediate. Within 15, 20 minutes, of looking down the list, there were several pages on the internet. She found one that was close, and we looked at it, and it was in good shape, but the engine was, it had excessive miles on it. So we were able to arrange a price that we could afford. And we were also members of the Electric Car Association, and we were attending the group down in San Diego because they were real active. And they had a lot of engineers, a lot of tinkerers, and everybody seemed to be building cars. So we asked the presidents, as we have this car, we want it converted, but we'd like to have someone do it. It'll take me years to figure it out, so better to go to someone who knows how to do it. So they hooked us up with a guy in Verona, and his name is escaping me. Again, it's age-related confusion. Hopefully I can think of it, but he converted it to a lead-acid system, and we ran that and enjoyed it. And a girlfriend of hers started calling it Electrocutie because it was the only one around that we could find in Orange County. And so I started autocrossing it, and I was keeping up with the first three guys, the first four, fastest cars, and I felt pretty comfortable with it, but I couldn't get it to go any faster to get up to third place or second place. And first place was just definitely out of the question with lead acid. I was just too heavy. So the business got a little better, and we had a little more money to expend, and we converted it to lithium. Well, that lightened it up 300 pounds. So now I'm up there constantly fifth place, and right on the heels of the faster cars. And so the one thing about the electric system is, with the batteries and the motor and the controller you have, you can only do so much, and that's it. You've hit your limit. So I got into aerodynamics, and I started tinkering around with that, and there were a lot of really good aerodynamicists that had posted channels on the YouTube. And so I started watching these guys and picking up all this different techniques that can be employed in aerodynamics. For instance, the front of the Mazda Miata has an oval opening where the radiator was. Well, I had gotten rid of the radiator, and that lightened it up considerably, and then things that were accompanying it. And I made an aluminum plate that covered that hole, so the air wasn't getting up into the engine compartment, and the engine compartment was acting like a great big scoop, just holding that air in. So now the air could part left and right, and I put a front air dam on it, and that kept keep the air from getting underneath. Well, that trimmed off a second of my time. And we had discovered, what's the outfit? They were doing alternative fuel races at Laguna Seca. I'll have to look on the trailer. I've got a sticker on the trailer, and I'll recall that. So anyway, we started racing in the alternative fuel races, and yeah, I'm doing pretty good, but I'm still not podium quality. And then I built an under tray that covered the bottom of the car so that the air wasn't collecting up around the tunnel where the drive shaft goes and the differential or the transmission or any of the convolutions that normally is under a car. So the air is flowing very smoothly underneath it and out from underneath. And that trimmed another second off. And then I put side skirts on it, which kept the air from going from the side of the car that's being expelled and rolling underneath it. And that trimmed another half a second off. And, and I kept doing these little tricks that I was learning about aerodynamics. And I wound up trimming a whole 5 seconds off my speed. And I was just amazed. And in 2013, I managed to get a third place podium finish. And by that time, I'd really punished the batteries. They were getting weak, not really charging. I mean, I'd driven them hard. I mean, I made them do what I wanted them to do. And as a result, they started dying and I couldn't get them back up. And so eventually they all turned to bricks. But I'm confident that the progress I was making, I could for certain got a second place. And unfortunately, the last year that I competed, the guy that got first place in conversion, I had a faster time. Unofficially, I had a faster time, and but I could have protested the result of it because his car was a factory 5. It's a special built car, not a conversion, and he'd built it up from scratch. It wasn't a car that had an internal combusting engine. So I could have protested, but I didn't. I just, hey, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully we can afford some new batteries and get back in there. But our fortunes changed, and so I retired it. But I retired it with so many wonderful memories of racing. When you're racing, you're concentrating so hard. You're focused so deeply in what you're doing that it's relaxing to the brain in a long-term situation, because you're not balancing all these other things in life that you're having to deal with, including business and so many extraneous things. And I always came out exuberant and refreshed, because and the other thing that contributed to it is you don't have the noise of the internal combusting engine. You're listening for the tires. I mean, we all have heard that noise when they break loose, when they've lost their grip on the pavement. But there's a noise that they make very subtly before they break loose. And you listen for that intently and try to avoid breaking loose. So I really pressed hard. I mean, I went through those turns and I spun out all the time. I had to be towed off. 2 times I got turned completely around and I'm facing oncoming traffic of these guys zooming past me, and I'm going, I hope they don't hit me in the front end. But they're smart. They avoided me. But I just really enjoyed, because I'd raced internal combusting engines in the 70s, early 70s, and it was just a whole different motoring experience. And also the people that you're around. When I was racing internal combusting cars, it was all about horsepower and all about torque and gearing, and it was kind of a messy subject, oil and gas and all that stuff. But with the electric car crowd, you could talk about politics, you could talk about the environment, and it was about electrons. So that was my experience.
Thank you.
And I'm just really glad that I had that opportunity. It was, I think we talked about this once before. When I was in college, I took a class in psychology, and there was a Czechoslovakian psychiatrist who had written this book,